welcome to LA Muscle TV. My name is Kubi Springer, and today you've got a treat, guys. I'm sitting down with somebody who is a business consultant and a motivational business speaker. His name is Jeff Grout, and he's got outstanding and exceptional advice for all of you. So, Jeff, welcome.
Thank you.
Bit of an intro I gave you there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel a bit bigged up now.
Well, you should be. So, Jeff, I want to just give our viewers a bit of a background.
Yeah.
How did you get started as a business consultant?
Well, basically, I was working in local government and hated it. Went travelling around the world, climbed the Himalayas. I played the part of an English Catholic priest in a Bollywood movie.
Really?
Picked grapefruit in Israel, and then got back, and I was looking for a job, and the company I joined was advertising, and I joined as the most junior consultant. 6 years later, I was the MD.
Wow.
And I left it 20 years later, about 20 times the size it was when I joined it.
That's phenomenal. How do you go from entry level to MD within? How do you do that?
A lot of luck and taking opportunities as they came up. I mean, essentially, people were leaving the company. Suddenly, an opportunity came up, and I suppose I grasped it with both hands and worked hard, and chance made it come real.
Now, some people say that luck is just a myth. As a business consultant, I take it you don't think it's just a myth?
I think the reality is sometimes opportunities present themselves. So I think there is an element of luck, if you like, or good fortune. But the reality is most of it is about hard work. I haven't come across any successful person in any profession who doesn't actually work hard. But I suppose the question I'd put is it work if they're doing something they really enjoy?
Now, you have worked with or studied some amazing people like Sir Alan Sugar, who our viewers at home will remember from The Apprentice and his infamous line, "You're fired." But you've also worked with Sir Clive Woodward. I mean, and the list goes on. How has it been working or studying these various different
well, basically, in recruitment, for many years, I was fascinated with what determines success. Was it about people's talent, or was it more about the application of that talent?
Right.
And I started interviewing people, really asking them what made them successful. So I interviewed multimillionaire entrepreneurs, corporate leaders, government ministers, and Olympic champions. And there was a chorus of agreement from all of them that their success had far less to do with their ability and everything to do with having the right attitude. And from that point on, it became, okay, what were these winning attitudes, these high-performance behaviours? And that's really what led me to write some books and really get inside the heads of some of these people, and what lessons might there be for the rest of us.
And what did you find out? Because I know you've done in-depth research on this, as well as kind of quantitative and personal questions. What research and what results did you find?
I think the first thing is that many of us have dreams. These people don't. They have goals. Michael Johnson, that many of the viewers will have seen on commentating on the Olympics, he was the world and Olympic 400-metre champion. He had a lovely phrase, which is, "I craft my dreams into ambitions. I refine my ambitions into goals. I turn my goals into plans."
Oh, that's
and these
excellent.
people plan.
Yes.
So they set a goal, something they can control, and they put plans into place, and they have the discipline to follow those plans till they achieve the outcome they want.
Now, when you say that to somebody who might be just sitting at home, has a dream, it sounds easy. Is it?
Well, in a sense, easy not, because it involves a lot of hard work.
Sure.
But the reality is, thinking, wouldn't it be nice to be a millionaire, is not going to get you anywhere. So if your goal is that financial success is a goal, and remember, there may be other things which might determine it, but if financial success is a goal, okay, you're not going to get there as being a teacher or a librarian. So what are the professions where you might make some money? This might be in the city of London, not at the moment, of course. This might be in terms of sales. And therefore, okay, looking at that, and okay, what do I need to do? And putting a plan into place. Now, it doesn't mean to say it's guaranteed success, but you're more likely to succeed if you do a bit of research, set some goals and objectives, and put a plan into place.
And working with someone like Sir Clive Woodward, you had quite a long and personal relationship with him. What did you observe from him particularly that made you think that's why you're so good?
What he possessed, which I think a lot of successful people have, is a curiosity to find better ways of doing things. Almost a childlike curiosity. So, for example, if he was here with you now, he'd be as interested in what you do and what you've done to see if there's anything he can pick up or learn that he might use. So, for example, when he became England rugby coach, he looked outside his sport. He looked at what American football was doing. He looked at Aussie rules football. He felt the people that that the best catchers of a high ball were in Aussie rules football. So he observed that. He looked at the business world. And like a magpie, he stole lots of ideas and that to create a high-performance environment. And certainly, I'd say that is a characteristic of lots of people that I've met. Seb Coe said, for the elite athlete, perfection is always around the next corner because they're constantly looking for things. Sally Gunnell said, I never ran the perfect race because all the time they're looking to do things better.
One of the things that you just mentioned that has rang a bell for me is, in my mind, about diversifying. So this is my industry, this is my core talent, but I can't just focus on my industry and my talent alone. I need to have my eye on the ball. Is that, in essence, do you think that's quite key with any industry that you're in?
Yes, I think the danger is you remain blinkered. And if you remain blinkered, you're not aware of what the possibilities are out there, first of all. Plus the fact, what you'll find is an elite athlete is also a good golfer. He might have an interest in music. So they've got a broad sense of interest. They're not quite as narrow as people think they are. They're very narrow at a point in time. So if they're about to play a World Cup final, they're not thinking anything else apart from the World Cup final.
Sure.
And what you'll find is a mantra for many elite sportsmen is focus on the process. Don't focus on the outcome. So back to the earlier point, if the outcome is to be a millionaire, don't worry about that. Focus on the process that'll get you to be a millionaire.
I've heard many times, Jeff, people say that if you love doing what you're doing, the money will come because you become so good at it because you love doing it, you'll subsequently be paid. Do you agree with that analogy?
Yeah. I think the reality is people who are really successful have an enthusiasm, a passion for what they do. And therefore, once you find the thing that you really enjoy doing, is the day you stop work because you're no longer working. You're actually doing things you want to do. Now, when I left my business to work for myself and do things that I was interested in, you know, I remember saying to my wife at the time, you know, well, I won't be working quite the long hours that I'm working. And about a month into this, she came into my study about midnight and said, I thought you weren't working for me. And I looked, this is not work. I'm doing what I want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I want to put it out there because you're an author and you've written some fantastic books. One of them you mentioned earlier, which is about creating champions. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about that book.
Yes, I interviewed at a conference a number of years ago the former Australian rugby captain, a guy called Michael Lynagh. And he made this throwaway comment that it's all in the mind. And subsequently, I interviewed other sportsmen, and I said, well, how important is the mind? And I thought they might say, well, 15–20% of my success is about what's up here. But generally, the view was about 80% of their ultimate success was dependent on what's going up here. And the reality is, what we choose to believe or choose is all here. So, for example, when you got up out of bed this morning, are you happy or sad? It's a choice. So that consequently, people make choices about their attitude. And certainly what I found was that elite sportsmen and women are not only physically fitter than the rest of us, they're mentally fitter. They're very, very good at setting goals, and they have the discipline to follow goals. They're able to get themselves in the right mental state to perform absolutely at their peak. Partly it's about removing distractions. There's a term which comes from the Japanese samurai, which is the concept of the full mind. If you fill your mind with a task, it pushes out distractions and diversions.
I love that.
There's another term which was used by an Australian triathlete, a guy called Andrew Meikle. And he was a guy that believed that he didn't make it to the very peak. I think he was ranked 7th in the world. And he determined his lack of success at the ultimate level was that he wasn't mentally as tough as some of his competitors. And subsequently, he's gone around the world studying mentally tough people. He's interviewed Nelson Mandela, he's interviewed former American astronauts, he's interviewed descendants of the Japanese samurai. And one term which I really like of his, and to quote him verbatim, he says, are you prepared to destabilize what you have to achieve what you desire? So, for example, you might be in a pretty routine type job and you really want to do something else. You want to be a dancer, you want to play sport or whatever. But are you prepared to destabilize what you have to achieve that? Are you prepared to give that up, give up the security of that and really try for it? Now, it doesn't guarantee that you'll do it, but the people